DSFL 2, week number 12, and we cannot talk about the playoffs if we don't include the Green Bay Packers, at least coming into this game it would be. Early on in Detroit, second quarter, Packers 7-3 on the year, and more success coming for the offense in the first half. But Green Bay would give their fair share of mistakes to Detroit, and they would take advantage. Jim David all the way, 80 yards for a touchdown on the interception return, and the Lions score early at 7-10 Packers. Later on, with Barry Sanders sidelined with an injury, it would be David Clark into the end zone. Touchdown Lions, they take the lead. But late in the fourth quarter, the Packers would have a drive here against the Lions defense. And on 3rd and 4, let's just score in one play. Over the middle, it'd be complete for the touchdown, and the Packers reclaim the lead. It's now 17-14. And the Lions have one final chance. On 4th and 11, they would need 11 and would get 10 3/4. They would be unable to score, and that would end it for the Lions. They're now 4-7 and out of the playoffs. Dolphins and the Cowboys, both teams have been on a tailspin, but Dallas certainly needs this game. Miami could afford a loss, but things would be very difficult from here on out if the Dolphins do in fact lose. And early on, that would seem to be the case, as Charles Haley would get the fumble recovery and score first for the Cowboys at 7-0. But then the Dolphins get on a roll to start the second quarter, as Dan Marino would get a nice little touchdown drive here to tie the game at 7. Brandon Marshall into the end zone for the touchdown. But then the Cowboys go on a run for 3 straight field goals to end the second quarter. And now the score would be 16-7 in the halftime break. And now after another field goal, it's 19-7. And the pass here at the end of the fourth quarter would be incomplete, and the penalty would be against the Dolphins, and it'd be a turnover. Now Miami has one final slim chance on 4th at a yard, but it is sacked on the play, and the season seems to be slipping away for the Dolphins. Meanwhile, the Cowboys get a win here, and now we're 5-6 on the season thanks to a 22-7 victory. Our Thursday nighter here as the Niners travel to Baltimore to take on the upstart Ravens, and Baltimore all game long would show the fight it takes to put up the game of the week for week number 12. Roger Craig would cap off the drive with a 10-yard touchdown, and the Niners would score first on a quick drive. It'd be 7-0, but the Ravens would have a much slower drive thanks to Jamal Lewis. And after 80 yards down the field, a 1-yard score would tie the game at 7, as Jamal Lewis would get the ball into the end zone, and it's 7 apiece in the second quarter. Montana on the second series would convert here on the big play. 40 yards on the completion to Brent Jones. But then after a field goal, things would go the Ravens' way after the tip ball. But on 3rd down and less than 5 to go, the pass would nearly be picked off. The Ravens, luckily, are not having a turnover there. Settle for a field goal. It's 10 apiece in the fourth quarter. Now Montana trying after several 3-and-outs to convert here, but another incomplete pass intended for Jerry Rice. Now the Ravens, can they have a drive here with under 4 minutes to play in the fourth quarter? Flacco rallies the Ravens, and on 1st and 10, the pass is caught off the tip ball, and Derek Mason is into the end zone. Touchdown, Ravens. So now Baltimore takes a 17-10 lead, and can the Niners now respond on a 4th and 3 here with a man in motion? Guts time here for Joe Montana. Can he provide the clutch play? Terrell Owens there for the first down. Then on another 1st and 10. Montana looking underneath. Another 1st and 10. Now to the 15-yard line, to the 13. Montana complete to Rice for 3 yards. Now he hurries up to the line, and the Ravens are caught off guard on the play as they'd be offsides, and the Niners thankfully get a break here. It's now a 2nd down and 2 scenario for the Niners. And the pass would be complete to Jerry Rice, and finally, Rice comes into the DSFL with a huge play. This one to tie the game at 17 with under a minute to play. And the Niners come up huge when it matters most, as Montana takes a hit but throws a touchdown to tie the game at 17. Now the Ravens with 2 timeouts in their back pockets. They could have gone for a long pass, but they run it, and that's the end of their drive. Now the Ravens do get the ball back in overtime after a Niners 3-and-out. Do they convert here? Ray Rice first down would be taken back because of a holding penalty. Now on 3rd and 14, Flacco heaves it deep, a kind of a prayer in this scenario, but it's incomplete. Ronnie Lott tips it away. Now the Ravens defense has to come up to play here, and will they do so? Roger Craig says no, they will not. A big first down to get near the midway point of the field. Montana does get them across the midfield mark. Then on a 1st and 10, the pass is picked off. This is Peter Boulware ending the Niners' drive there very quickly. And now the Ravens retake the field, but they would only last 3 plays as Carlos Rogers intercepts the ball, and the ball travels right back to San Francisco. And on a 2nd down and 3, Montana and the Niners do not disappoint this time out. With under 1:30 to play, the overtime kick would be up, and Nedney wins the game for the Niners. And now San Francisco is 10-1 on the season thanks to several clutch wins, including this one over the Ravens. With the Dolphins lost, the Bills are set up with a huge matchup as a win would put them in 1st place in the AFC East. But early on, Jim Kelly would make some big-time mistakes. This one a pick 6 by Jim Leonard off the left sideline as he would get 30 yards scampering into the end zone. Jets score first at 7-0 here in New York. But then later on, Jim Kelly would respond at halftime right near there via touchdown to tie the game at 7 apiece as Lowry and the defense gets burned again. Then Bruce Smith with a forced fumble would be picked up by the offense, but it would lead to a 3-and-out. Here come the Bills on 1st and 10 from the 47 to start the 3rd. Andre Reed with the leaping reception, and he's got it for a touchdown. And the Bills with a huge win here in New York, beating the Jets by the final score 21-7. And now the Bills at 7-4 are first in the AFC East. Miami has lost 4 of their last 6. Chargers and the Broncos, and Denver looking to have a win here in San Diego to improve their very slim playoff chances here in the AFC West. And early on, things would go the Chargers' way here on an initial drive in the 2nd quarter. Antonio Gates getting into the red zone, and the Chargers would settle for a field goal. It's 3-0 in the 2nd. The Broncos, again, unable to do anything on offense, and LaDainian Tomlinson, an 11-year career with the Chargers, retired in San Diego with a great touchdown, and the Chargers win thanks to LT, a story for the Chargers in so many games. Panthers and the Colts here in a game with 2 teams going obviously in different directions here. Indianapolis on defense showing that they can prove very dominant against some of the top teams in offense in the entire DSFL. And offensively, they score first and they win 28-21. Touchdown would be the difference. With the Colts win, Houston would continue to have to put victories on their scoreboard in order to continue to have the lead in the AFC South and get a 1st round bye. But early on, things would go Jacksonville's way here in Jaguars Stadium. A missed field goal by Al Del Greco would leave it scoreless in the 1st quarter. But Mark Brunell with an early mistake here. Chris Dishman on the return of the interception, and Houston would get the ball in plus territory off the turnover. It would take advantage thanks to Warren Moon and a connection from him, the quarterback, to Austin Gibbons, and he would score on a 34-yard connection to score first, and Houston would go on to win easy, final 21-7. Now a quick look at the AFC South picture led by the 9-2 Texans, Colts at 8-3. The rain won't go away here in Quest Field as both teams with struggling records take off, and Jim Zorn plugged into the starting lineup here for Seattle, and you would see on his first series of the 2nd quarter as O.J. Atogwe would get the interception, would travel into plus territory to the 36-yard line, and the Redskins offense would take advantage right before halftime as the ball would be complete for the touchdown. Charlie Taylor in the end zone, 7-0 Washington. But then Seattle would respond right before halftime, but on 2nd and 10, Jim Zorn is sacked on the play, and they have to call on the field goal unit, and here in the rain, you can't get a very good footing. The ball is short, no good. Marshawn Lynch on 3rd and 10, showing the Skittles moves it takes to get the 1st down. Another 3rd and 6, this time Zorn is sacked at the end of the 3rd. They have to punt the football away, more struggles for the Seahawks. Now at the end of the 4th quarter, the Redskins attempt to run down the clock, but it's no good. So now Seattle needs a drive, and here Mike Tice gets the ball for the 1st down. Then on another fresh set of chains, the pass is complete. Darrell Jackson get into the plus territory, ball on the 25-yard line, and then on 1st and 10 after the no huddle, Zorn to the end zone, picked off. Ken Houston for the interception, and the 3rd pick by Zorn seals it for the Redskins. Seattle looks to be out of the playoff picture, but you can never count the Seahawks out, as they always seem to have one final fight late. But here in Quest Field, they lose an ugly battle, 7-0. NFC West clash between the Cardinals and the Rams, and it would be the battle of the Warners if it weren't for a season-ending torn pectoral injury for the Cardinals' own Kurt Warner. And it'd be the Rams' Warner that would score first here early in the second quarter. Isaac Bruce on a 70-plus yard touchdown connection, and St. Louis here at home gets on the board first at 7-0. Now Jim Hart and the Rams with a Warner-like drive here before halftime to tie the game at 7 apiece here in the halftime break here in St. Louis. Now third quarter action. Kurt Warner back to the air and another move the chain series here for the offense. And with a 59-yard field goal, Josh Brown would be good on the long attempt and would have room to spare. What an impressive kick there by the Rams kicker. Now it's 10-7 St. Louis over the Cardinals. Jim Hart back to the air and back into the plus side of the field, but on third and goal, incomplete pass overthrown, and now Anquan Bolden has to see his Cardinals to tie the game at 10. Warner to start the fourth, and he connects with Elroy Hirsch, and he is gone off the right sideline. A 70-yard touchdown connection, and now the Rams retake the lead at 17-10. And this is a huge touchdown for St. Louis because the Cardinals have struggled so far on offense, has had their fair share of good plays, but here on third down and 10, it'd be short of the first down. The Rams stuck inside the 10 have a huge play right up the gut, but there's a penalty on the field. Would it be against the Cardinals or the Rams? Dickerson would be gone with that speed, a 91-yard touchdown, but the penalty is against the Rams, holding on the fullback there. And then on third down and 6, it beat Falk short of the first down. Cardinals call a timeout and would get one final chance. Hart, can he have a drive to tie the game at 17 and send the game to overtime? First and 10 with 1:26 to play. Fitzgerald for the first down. Third down and 5 at the 25. Incomplete pass. Hit on the play, and Hart has a 4th and 5 coming up. From the 25, Hart looking. Has time. Complete as he takes a hit. Complete to David Boston. And a clutch play. He is growing up quite a bit in this game. Third down and 6. Sacked on the play. Protection breaks down. Then on 4th and 14, Hart for the win. Sacked by Youngblood, and that ends the game. And the Cardinals cannot even send the game to overtime thanks to a 17-10 thrilling victory by the Rams, who improved to 7-4, Niners 10-1. Eagles and the Patriots in New England with a loss here in Philadelphia could see their playoff chances go bye-bye here as the Eagles try to get to 6-5 on the season and still maintain a half-game deficit to the Washington Redskins, who are 6-5. Brady makes a huge mistake in the fourth quarter with his first interception of the game, and it'd be a big one as the Eagles score at 7-0. And then after Brady screws up the Patriots' chances, he screws it up again. Patriots lose thanks to only 90 yards of offense in the game. The offense fails for the New England Patriots, and they lose 7-0. Steelers travel to KC in hopes for their 10th win of the season, but they have a challenge early on against the Chiefs. But early on, Kansas City would not show the kind of life they've had all season long, being the underdog team to have such a great record in the entire DSFL at 7-3. But John Stallworth would show why the Steelers are the top team in the AFC. 7-0 start here right before halftime, then led Dawson with a stupid interception. Bonehead decision there by the quarterback. And that ball will be traveled into the end zone. Interception return by Rod Woodson goes for 6 points. And the Steelers win by the final 21-10 and improve to 10 wins. Giants and the Saints in the Superdome on Monday Night Football. And the Saints just proved to be the underperforming team all day long. Their talent showed very lacking in the entire football game. 17-7 start for the Giants before Dave Meggett. Giants win 27-21 to still be a game back in the NFC East. Now we go to the standings in the entire DSFL. Texans and the Steelers, very impressive in the AFC. Bills retake the lead in the AFC East. And the Raiders at 9-2 prove to be one of the best teams in the entire DSFL. The Pack, the Bucks, the Skins, and the Niners, all leaders in the NFC. We'll see you next week for Week 13.